April 2023 is upon us and Netflix is adding a ton of movies this month, way more than usual. In this video, we're going to be talking about well over 30 movies getting added to Netflix this month, plus 10 new and returning series. At the end of the video, I'll tell you about everything leaving Netflix in April, so you can be sure to catch those titles before they're gone. But as usual on these episodes, we're going to start with everything they're adding on April 1st, which is where they add a lot of the movies you're going to be familiar with. Movies like American Hustle, easily one of my top picks for the month. If it's been a while since you've seen it, man, this is a wild, fun caper with a killer cast, and they're all doing really fantastic work. Some high drama stuff alongside some just fantastic comedic performances from Bradley Cooper. Christian Bale is hilarious in this movie. It's one of my favorite Jennifer Lawrence performances.
Oh! No, Danny, not that one. That one's empty. We gotta use the big one.
And Amy Adams is a total badass in this thing. Speaking of badasses, they're gonna be adding Conan the Destroyer, an 80s Arnold classic. It's worth noting that's the sequel to the original Conan the Barbarian. It came out a couple years after and is not quite as good. But if you want more action, they're also going to be adding Battleship, which is very much like a Michael Bay movie, but I think it's a little more self-aware and has a little more fun than the Transformers movies do, even though it does have a lot in common with those. You need a thinkier movie. Inception is coming back to Netflix. This is one that appears to be on Netflix every 6 months or so it's no big surprise that it's coming back. But I have not seen Inside Man available for quite a while, so I'm excited to see that coming back to a streaming service. Along with Smokey and the Bandit, a 70s classic that I absolutely love. This movie never gets old.
Off, Daddy. I hope your goddamn head was in it.
They're also adding a couple of Alfred Hitchcock's best movies, including Psycho, which is still to this day one of the greatest movies of its kind. Even when you know the twist, you know what's coming. The way that this thing was shot and filmed is just incredibly effective, and I could say the same thing for The Birds. One that does take quite a while getting started, but once it takes off, it is just such an interesting concept and it's so well delivered by Hitchcock here. But if you just need some laughs, A League of Their Own is also one of my top picks for the month. Another classic movie that holds up incredibly well.
Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
And I also highly recommend Hatfields and MCCOYS. This stars Bill Paxton and Kevin Costner, and was actually a mini-series released on the History Channel, but this is a top-notch production. This is based on the true story of the epic blood feud between the families of the Hatfields and McCoys on the West Virginia-Kentucky border. It is an excellent sort of Western-style mini-series, again with fantastic actors, and at an almost 5-hour runtime, it really will make a great watch on Netflix this month. But some other big movies they're going to be adding include the original Spider-Man trilogy, still some of the best Spider-Man movies they released, especially the first two. The entire Bourne trilogy is getting added. It's been a while since I've seen those movies, but they're not only adding the trilogy, they're also adding the Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner. Get out! A Samuel L. Jackson throwback from the 90s is The Negotiator. This is an excellent hostage negotiation style movie that's kind of high energy as well. Honestly, this and Inside Man would make a killer double feature in April. And then the 2011 quote-unquote remake of The Thing gets added. I will say, if you passed on this movie because you are a big fan of the original, I highly recommend checking out this movie. It's not nearly as good as the original, but there is some substance there, and even though they kind of ruined all of the practical effects by overlaying digital stuff on top of them, it still does have some decent meat and potatoes that makes it well worth watching for fans of the original, trust me. And then they're also adding Zombieland, which I have not seen for quite a while. I've only seen the sequel available on streaming services, and I really do not like that movie. The original is solid, so there's a good chance I'll be checking that out in April as well. Now, they're also adding a ton of stuff for the family. I'm gonna blow through these quickly though, because they do include The Cat in the Hat and the Lorax, as well as Hotel Transylvania, Shark Tale, Shrek Ever After, and the original Puss in Boots. But my top picks for the family include the original How to Train Your Dragon, just an excellent movie from top to bottom, The Land Before Time, A fantastic vintage throwback from the 80s. If you've yet to watch this with your young kids, it really does make a killer watch and it'll be nostalgic as hell for most of you. And then I highly recommend the original Matilda. I say the original because Netflix also has a Matilda musical that is fantastic. It just came out this past Christmas, but the original was directed by Danny DeVito and is just a fantastic, beautiful movie. It does have some dark elements to it, but nothing too graphic for young kids. I highly recommend checking this one out with the family in April. Some other fantastic movies hitting Netflix on April 1st include Bourne on the 4th of July, directed by Oliver Stone, Charlie Wilson's War with Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts, and the original Friday Night Lights movie. On April 2nd, they're going to be adding a new series that is a Norwegian post-World War II series. It looks like it takes place on a battleship. It looks like an amazing series. If you enjoyed Narvik, which just released last month, I highly recommended that movie. That too was a Norwegian World War II movie. Hopefully this series is in the same vein. April 3rd adds Surviving R. Kelly Part 3. If you watch the others, this is almost going to be a must because this is where they cover his trial and sentencing and all of that. If you're checked out of the R. Kelly thing, I get it, but I did watch the other Surviving R. Kelly parts, and there's a good chance I need to see what happened with this trial because I did not keep up with it back when it was happening. On the 6th, they added a movie that would make a killer double feature with Conan the Destroyer, The Last Stand. Now, even though it's called The Last Stand, this was actually Arnold's first movie back after having been governor of California, and as a first movie back, it's pretty okay. I feel like a lot of his movies have been so-so at best, and The Last Stand is really one of the better ones he's been in since he returned to movie making. It's not quite an action-packed movie. In fact, there's a lot of build-up to the final action sequence, but it is a decent one, and the build-up is not that bad either.
What is your problem? What?
On the 6th, they also add one of the most interesting series I've seen added to Netflix in a while. It's titled Beef. This stars Ali Wong and Steven Yeun as a couple of people at the end of their rope who get in a road rage incident and then continue to torment each other in a variety of ways. The trailer looks absolutely sick. It's really difficult to tell what the tone's going to be. It looks like it's going to be quite dark, but it could be pretty funny as well. But bottom line is it looks clever, creative, and completely new compared to a lot of shows I've seen Netflix releasing, which I'm all for at this point.
Hey, are you guys leaving, or are you just gonna sit there?
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Say it again! I dare you to say it again!
On the 7th, they add one of the more interesting family-friendly movies coming to Netflix this month, CHUPA. It's about a couple of kids who find and befriend a chupacabra. Again, this looks like a fantastic family watch for a Netflix original. They're also going to be adding a 7-episode limited series called Transatlantic. It's about an American journalist in France who gets a bunch of refugees out at the onset of World War II. From what I can tell so far, this doesn't quite look like a good show for history buffs. I could be wrong there, but it looks like it's going to appeal more to people who are fans of some of these soapier dramas that Netflix produces. If you want to sleep with the lights on April 11th, they're going to be adding Lights Out, a really fantastic horror movie that's actually based on a short film that was incredibly popular here on YouTube. Yes, it's a PG-13 horror movie. It really is targeted at scaring younger audiences, but it does have some incredibly creepy moments in it that are just so effective in the way that they were shot. April 13th adds one of the things you can tell Netflix is the most proud of in April. It's a new series titled Florida Man.
Florida.
Yes. No.
You're from there.
Yes, and I'm going back.
I'm honestly surprised it took someone this long to make something titled Florida Man, but this looks like an epic crime series. I like a lot of the actors in this, and the creator of the show has a long track record with shows like This Is Us, Ugly Betty, and Sleepy Hollow, so this one's definitely got my attention for the month of April. Then on the 14th, they add a movie based on the series The Last Kingdom. It's actually titled The Last Kingdom, 7 Kings Must Die, and it has a almost 2-hour runtime. It looks like it's done at the same production level as the show. Fans of The Last Kingdom, this is going to be one of the top picks for you in the month of April. The 16th adds a really fantastic indie movie titled The Mustang. This is about an inmate who is part of a program where they train horses, and he forms a really tight bond with this one particular Mustang. It's beautifully shot, high drama stuff, and especially for a prison movie, this is one that is much more touching than anything you've seen before. In fact, I don't even know that this really qualifies as a prison movie genre-wise. When you watch it, you'll get a feel for what I mean. Better Call Saul Season 6 gets added on the 18th. If you missed the grand finale of this series and you've been waiting for the Netflix release, here it comes towards the end of April. Chimp Empire is a new docu-series. It looks like it's actually a mini-series, so this will be a limited run, but I find chimpanzees to be incredibly interesting, and this is rated G, so you can watch it with the kids. I doubt they're going to be ripping each other's arms off in this docu-series, which chimps are kind of prone to do. So it's likely not too violent for the kids, but if you want your kids to watch some violence, they are going to be adding a new Power Ranger series. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always. This is actually a new reboot series that features some of the original cast members. Now, this is a show I never really got into as a kid, but if you did, it looks very similar to the original series from when I was young. So another good nostalgic watch with the kids. I'm honestly surprised that they're producing it this way and not going in some new flashy direction. It really does look like the old show. In fact, it'll be interesting to see if younger audiences today embrace sort of the low-budget nature of the look of that show. April 20th adds another new high-drama series titled The Diplomat. This actually stars Kerry Russell and has the same producer as The West Wing and Grey's Anatomy. Again, looks like high-drama stuff, and Kerry Russell's always fantastic. For some more laughs, on the 25th, John Mulaney has a brand new special out. He's also a new father, so there should be some good material there. And then they bring back The Hateful Eight, but not just The Hateful Eight. You can watch it as the original theatrical released movie or as an extended cut, which is basically broken up like a 4-part miniseries. I've watched it both ways, and I'm telling you, the long form way is not just extra fat. It really is a cool way to watch this. In fact, the original is almost too long for my taste in one sitting, and breaking it out into several hour-long segments, it works incredibly well, and Quentin Tarantino is currently working on his 10th and probably final movie, according to his words, but he has stated he's got interest in creating shows and miniseries, so this extended format might be the way we see future projects from Tarantino. On the 26th, they bring back Working Moms for Season 7, which is also the finale, so if you've been into that show, get ready, because it's about to end here towards the end of April. And on a similar note, they're also bringing back Firefly Lane for Season 2, Part 2. Not my jam, I'm not recommending it, but I know a fair amount of people in my audience do enjoy this. If you like soap opera-y type stuff, this is going to be the one for you. And then finally, Sweet Tooth returns on the 27th for Season 2. This is an incredible post-apocalyptic series that's unlike any other post-apocalyptic series I've ever seen. It's actually produced by Robert Downey Jr. and is based on a graphic novel series. And at first glance, it looks like a family-friendly thing, but it is not. This actually goes in some heavy directions and has some really fantastic adventure elements. If you missed it and it looks the least bit interesting to you, I highly recommend checking out that first episode of Season 1. And now here is everything leaving in the month of April. If you're new to the channel, welcome, but please note the date listed is the date it is gone, which means you cannot watch it on that date. You need to watch it before the date listed. Some of the titles are in bold here. These are ones I've recommended several times on the channel in the past. They're leaving, so be sure to watch them soon. But I will keep making these videos as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this Netflix episode, and you will see me on the next one.